to the Metal Summit, your source for all things rock and roll.
All right, Metal Summoners, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. It is Wednesday night. It is your place to be. We love you to death. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in with us, spending your evening with us. Now let's have a little bit of fun. As always, we've got Jason, we've got Angel, we've got the Psycho Steve. I'm Jay, but more importantly than that, as always, we have a guest. We are being joined by the top dog, the chief of Tongue Nation, Silvertung's Speed. How are you, brother?
Good, man. How are you guys, man? Thank you so much for having me on here.
Absolutely. No problem, man. Pleasure is all ours. We really appreciate you having taken a little bit of time to rap with us tonight. You had kind of mentioned to us off the air that we kind of plucked you a little bit out of band rehearsal and practice and one of your writing sessions. Because of the current situation with COVID, we can imagine there's probably a lot going on with that right now, getting ready to put out the next great record. Is that the case?
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, it's riff after riff, dude. We got so much music right now. We don't even know what to do with it, except for finish it.
Right. I can only imagine that not being too bad of a problem, except trying to figure out exactly which songs to use.
Exactly. It's whatever inspires you that night.
Absolutely, brother, 100%. So since this kind of COVID situation is really just kind of brand new to the whole music world, I mean, I don't really think anybody can ever say they really dealt with something like this. I mean, the music industry's gone up, it's gone down, it's changed in all kinds of different ways, but this is definitely a new thing. What was going on with Silvertung at the time it happened?
Dude, we had 2.5 months worth of touring set up. I mean, perfect touring. Routing was great all the way down to Texas, back up into Michigan, Chicago, and then back home. And it was just like everybody was like super, super excited. And right before COVID hit, we were like in the last final stages of rehearsals for the shows. When you get 45 minutes, you don't want to go out there and play a slow song or anything. You want to go out there and go balls out, right? So that's exactly where we were going with the show. And next thing you know, COVID hit, and everybody just kind of lost their shit.
Absolutely, for sure, man. It definitely threw a wrench into everything because, we've all got, musical backgrounds. We've all, spent our fair share of time on stage, as well as, just enjoying live music. And all of a sudden that was taken away, and that's not fun either.
Oh, hell no. Not when you have all that going on. And this was going to be a really good year for us because touring has kind of been one of the things that has like really put the band to the next level. And we were looking at more and more touring coming our way, and it just this COVID thing. I get it. It did a lot more than just take out concerts and festivals and stuff. But to a musician, where that's like your heart and your soul, it's kind of like depressing.
Absolutely, because I knew the one thing that got bumped to next year, and then I'm going to kick it down to Psycho Steve. Is you guys had a big festival that you were going to play with and you were sharing the actual stage with some really huge, long-standing acts. I think A7X was on that bill, as well as like a couple of other bands. But I think it was actually I forget because I'm thinking like Blue Ridge, but I think that was a different festival. But you guys definitely had a big festival that you were going to play.
Yeah, it was Rockfest, and Slipknot was a headliner. And the cool thing, this wouldn't have been the first time that we've been on the same stage with Slipknot. We also did with Slipknot for the Mayhem tours, and but this was this would have been the first time that I think we were like more in the backside of things with Slipknot. So that would have been really cool. I mean, I've met Corey a few times, but I'm sure he doesn't remember who I am. And that's cool. But
No, absolutely, man. But it's going to be great when the world just kind of gets back to turning again and we're able to do that and get right back to it.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Psycho Steve, my friend, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. So first of all, Speed, it's an honor to have you on the show. And I've been a fan of yours for many years. thanks to David Snowden. I have to thank him for that because he's the one that introduced me to you.
Oh,
So
dude,
the
thank
question
you. Thank
is,
you,
for
man.
new fans, how did Silvertung came about? Like the name Silvertung.
There's two different versions. There is an X-rated version, and then there is a rated G version, G13. The G13 version would be it's a Simpsons episode, and it's called Silvertongue.
Okay.
The Down and Dirty version, the true story, is we were rehearsing in my uncle's garage, and we came across. I mean, we were just talking, randomly about names. We need a really good name that's like gonna push it through and be on top and blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. And I started looking through my uncle's. I think they were VHS tapes. I think is what they were, and but they were porns. And I'm like looking at these things, going, what the hell is this? And one that came across was called Silvertongue. And I was like, dude, I got the name of the band. And they're like, what? And I was like, Silvertongue. And I started laughing, and they were like, dude, that's actually cool. I actually like that. And I was like, what? Really? So I kept looking at the name, and it's spelled Tongue. And I'm like, that's lame. So I did some research, and I found the Tongues, which is the Korean mafia. So I was like, Tung. Okay, let's put that together and see what it looks like. And bam, Silvertongue was born.
Alrighty then. I like this. I like the other version better. I'm kidding. I like both those.
Stop lying, Steve. Stop lying.
Speed, is that the Jebediah Springfield episode?
Yeah.
Dude, that's so badass. Jason, my good dude, let me kick it up to you.
Hey, Speed. So, what influenced you to get into music? With the singing and playing, how did that all start?
The first thing that kind of got me into it, I was a little kid, and it was like, oh man, I don't even remember what year it was, but my mom was a huge Elvis fan, and she used to dress me up like Elvis all the time, and I'd have to perform for the family. This is some real dirt here, just to let you guys know. And so she decided to put me in a talent contest one time, and I was like, wow, okay. So I did, and that was kind of my first experience of playing in front of a crowd. So I kind of I was like, wow, okay, so they actually like this. So then it fed off to that, and then my dream thing came across, which was Alice in Chains, and I lost it after that. I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I want to do. Alice in Chains. And then I heard Soundgarden, and I was like, oh my God, Chris Cornell, oh shit. So then I lost it again there. So ever since that stuff happened, ever since, the 90s happened, and I know a lot of people don't like the 90s, but some of the stuff I didn't like either, but a lot of the stuff I did. And that's kind of where I grew into wanting to be a musician, not just because being on stage. And at first I wasn't even a singer. I was actually a bass player.
Wow.
Yeah, I played for a band. I think they were called Fusion Knot. They were out of some Baltimore County area, but we kept playing, and the singer was really good. He was a really good singer. He just didn't have a very good frontman stage presence. And I was like, screw this. These people need to be entertained. So I started screaming in the mic, getting everybody hyped up. And people kept saying, man, your stage performance is more for a singer. I was like, you know what? And then he quit. He quit the band. So I was like, all right, I'll try it. What the hell? So I did. And I somehow I ended up becoming the singer for Silvertung too.
That's cool.
I think these guys are regretting it now, but
And the longer the run, the more they'll get over it.
Exactly. That's what I said. I said, hey, look, I own the name, so get over it.
There you go, for sure. So speaking of the name, and speaking of the name, and speaking of those crazy fans that we love so much, Angel, are they speaking?
Yep, a lot of them are saying hello. Rich, Selena, Deborah, Heather, Cindy, Lorena, Jeff, Amber. Hello and welcome. If you guys have questions you want to ask, please type them in so I can then read them, of course. My question is, last year you had a lineup change with the drummer. How nerve wracking is that when a band member, when you have to get a new band member to replace them, and having the fans be receptive, because you kind of seem to have found a great drummer. So how was that experience like with going through a lineup change?
It's always crazy because you kind of get used to working with someone, but they also bring a personality to the band that see, I'm not one of those singers that wants the spotlight all the time, because I think everybody should know who everybody in the band is, because it takes the members to create what the band is. And it's the hard part, I think, is bringing in a personality that not just we can get along with and we feel comfortable with, but how the fan's going to take it. And I think that was really important to us. But I think the main thing that was really important for us is to find someone that was hungry. And when we put the ad out, we probably answered, 12 or 15 different ads for the drummer spot. And it took a while to because it came down to like 3 different people. And of course, there's some questions that you could ask, like, what are you really doing with this? What do you want to do with this? And when someone answers and just says, well, I just want to have fun. Well, that's not who you want, because that's not somebody for the long haul. When someone says, I want to make a career out of this, that's a whole different ballgame. And it changes your aspect on everything that you're trying to do, because that's just another member that's going to push forward instead of pulling the reins, and then you have to drag them with you. So I think that was the hardest part. And then, then personalities have to match, which is really important, because a lot of bands don't look at that. And that's why they end up splitting up at some point. But the drummer that we ended up with, we couldn't have asked for a better person. Not only is she an awesome person in general, but she's an amazing drummer. And I can't wait to get her back out on the road, because people, the first time they saw her in her first appearance with us, everybody was like, oh my God, she is fantastic. And it's true. She is. She's fantastic. And that was a good thing for us, because we're able to grow in another direction, which is what we've been looking forward to. And it turned out great. It turned out great on our end.
Cool.
Absolutely, for sure. And the one thing too about First Speed that I've become very familiar with, very accustomed to, especially just in my personal experience, just kind of watching the evolution of the band, is that you guys have always been very dedicated to also evolving as a band. You honestly, Speed, I dare say you've probably had your unfair share amount of lineup changes for various reasons, but that's just kind of how the dice go. But talk a little bit about just the evolution of the band when you look back to like Silvertung the Pawn to like Silvertung currently, but at what cost? I assume that you've been happy with the progression of the band, but talk a little bit about how you've seen the band grow.
Yeah. I'm definitely, well, I'll say I'm definitely happy about the band. I'm very excited about the band because we continue to grow. But when you get like back in the Pawn days, it kind of was more of a just kind of throw together thing. And it just kind of happened that the band stayed together long enough to record a demo, and the Pawn was actually just a demo. It really wasn't to put out. It was just mainly a demo, and people kept saying, wow, your music's really good. And I was like, oh, okay, we weren't finished with it, but okay. And we were one of those bands that picked up cover tunes. We played Godsmack and Disturbed and anything that we could to, just get gigs at that point. And the band really didn't get serious until after 4 or 5 different member changes. And I would have to honestly say the band really started to kick off around 2012 is when, because a lot of people think, you put a band together, you're around for a couple years, and next thing you know, you're signed to a label, and then no, it doesn't work that way. And for me, it was a little bit harder issue because I had to replace so many other people. And it starts off great. It always does. You know, the honeymoon is always fantastic with each member, and everybody's psyched and they're ready to go. We're going to kick the world's ass. And I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll see. We'll see where you are. And lo and behold, you know, I would have to end up replacing someone for multiple reasons. And I don't hold anybody accountable or anybody. I don't hold any bad feelings towards anyone that, you know, isn't here any longer. You're not here for a reason, for your reason. And now I'm seeing it for my reason why you're not here. Because now the band continues to grow, and the band really got serious on a business end back in 2012. And it was still shaky even then after going through so many member changes. And then even after then, we still went through member changes. And we just kind of grew into something a lot more serious, which is kind of where my focus was in the beginning of the band. But as you keep going through these hurdles, you kind of lose a little bit of like effort of pushing forward. But I'm so dedicated, and this is all I want to do, and this is all I've ever done for so long now, that there's nothing in the world that's going to make me any happier. I don't care what the struggles are. I don't care if everybody in this band right now left and I'd have to start all over. I'd still do it again. I have no regrets. I think this is, if you're a musician, it doesn't matter. If I'm 70 years old and we get signed to the huge label and things blow up, I'll find a way to continue to tour.
Absolutely, brother. And around that 2012, that's right around the time that you scored Mr. Cody. And come on, Speed, he ain't going nowhere.
No, Cody's my bro. Actually, you know, I honestly hope that nobody in the band currently goes anywhere, because you want to talk about some awesome musicians. A singer like myself, you couldn't have written a better story for them to become who they are. Cody, for one, when he came in, he was green, but he turned that table so fast. As a guitar player, as an entertainer, as a songwriter, he's amazing. He's got his own style and his own feel, and that's kind of like what Silvertung's about. It's kind of like our own style, our own feel. Yeah, we're a hard rock metal band, but we don't sound like anyone. And we don't sound like anyone because of things what Cody does and the things that I do. And then, you know, landing two other members like Sam and Boma has now, when we moved into But at What Cost, the last album, it was a huge change in the band. If you listen to like The Pawn and Devils in the Details, it was a huge change for the band. It's kind of where we're trying to get to anyway, but we're not trying to get to the top point right now because we want to grow. And we want everybody to grow with us and see the growth, you know, not just go, okay, here we are. This is our number one album. This is our Justice for All. And you get nothing else afterwards. So, you know, we'd rather grow with everything. And I think that's where we're at right now. I mean, even with like But at What Cost, the ironic thing about But at What Cost, we recorded most of that in 2018, late 2019, finishing everything up. And if you read the lyrics and the songs to that album, it ended up being a concept. And I kid you guys not, it's exactly what's going on right now.
Wow.
Top to bottom of this album, starting with Dodging Bullets, you slide it all the way down into World Gone Mad, Wise Up, Feeling Human, Black Sunset, Done My Best. This album is exactly what's going on right now.
It is 100%. Psycho Steve, jump in there, sir.
Well, speaking of all the music and the albums that you've done with the past and the future, the present members and everything, how do you guys do it? Are you more the music part? Do you guys record the music first and then write the lyrics, or do you do the lyrics first and then work the music, like the guitar, the bass, the drum, and then the vocal come in next?
Actually, a lot of times it was more of kind of like I would come up with a melody and a riff, and we would kind of feed off of that most of the time. And that's kind of how we wrote most of the music. Every now and then Cody would come in with a really cool riff, and then I would write to it, whatever section I needed the most, and then we would build it from there. But at what costs, we did it completely different. We went in with partial music, went in the studio, and we birthed everything in the studio while we were there. And we had a lot of help from Stephen Wright, who was our producer, and looking forward to him being a producer again on the next album. But he had a little bit of an input, because we came in with some songs and some riffs, and he was like, let's just start from scratch. And I said, yeah, that's kind of where we're coming from with this. We don't want to just come in with a whole idea and not have it grow in the studio, where you can hear the slightest little nuance. And that's what really made this whole album come alive for us. So everything was up to that point was kind of one way. And then we just went in and wrote all the music, no lyrics, no melodies. And then I went back in and wrote melodies and lyrics to everything. And it was a really good, fresh feel for me.
Awesome.
Nice. That's
Very
really,
cool.
really killer, for sure. Jason, how about yourself there, brother?
So if you had the opportunity to play with anybody, dead or alive, who would it be?
Wow.
If you
Probably
already.
Chris Cornell. I mean, he's probably one of my, I want to say an influence for singing. Not that I sound like him, but for singing, he was definitely an influence. And it was pretty sad to see, him go, even though he left behind a legacy of his own, outside of Soundgarden. He left a legacy of his own behind. And if I would ever had a chance, that would probably be the person that I would love to share the stage with and tour with and just get to know and hang out. Other than that, it would probably be Prince.
Nice. That'd be awesome.
Great choices.
Great
Oh, yeah.
choice.
Prince is an amazing songwriter, amazing guitar player. He never got any credit for his guitar playing, which kills me.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, he played most of his own instruments besides guitar.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Definitely that instrumentalist. Absolutely. Angel, how's Tongue Nation doing?
Good. Just a few comments from the fans. Amber Cook, I love that they are so into their fans and get to know them. Mark, all the years I've known this band, I've never seen them phone in a performance, always 100% on stage. And Tammy was agreeing with what you said about the record. Yes, absolutely. So many songs that are spot on for what's happening now. My next question is, as a songwriter, when do you know that record is done? Like, when do you know, okay, I'm going to stop writing songs and just focus on Dispatch? When do you know when to stop writing for a record?
Honestly, that's probably one of the best questions I've ever had. And I'll tell you why. Because you don't really ever know. Because a year from now, I'm going to hear those songs. I'm going to go, damn it, we should have put this in there. Damn it. So honestly, I don't think you ever really know. You just kind of have to sit back and go, kind of like when you have birth a child, you just kind of go, they're 18. Okay, go out and do your thing now, whatever you got to do. So it's kind of where I'm at with our music. It's like I hear songs now that we did in 2012 or 10 and 12 that I sit back and go, man, if I would have had another shot at this, I would change this, and this, and that song. So I don't think, as a musician, I don't think we ever really know. We just kind of have to go, cut the cord and move on. And at that point, it's got to be that feel. For me, music is an emotion. It's not numbers. A lot of people, it's like numbers. The 3 parts of your verse, of 4 part of your chorus, and I can't do that. I'm not that smart, so I have to go everything off of feel. And once I can sit back and I can listen to a song, and it doesn't right away grab me and go, nope, you need to change that. I go, okay, I think we're done. It's usually after about 120 different edits, but yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely, for sure. One of those things like just keep keep working on it until you just blow your own brain out. I think you're right, Speed. It just gets to a point where it's like it's never going to be done unless I say it's done now.
Yeah, and Stephen Wright hates me for it. He's like, you always want to change.
We have Heather has a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, is there any song? Okay, this question is from Heather. Is there any song you hate playing but you still do because the fans like it?
Wow. Damn, another good question.
Yes.
But I think there is one song that I don't like hate it, but it's probably my least favorite to play. And a lot of people are gonna I'm gonna get so much hate mail out of this. I know I am.
Well, we'll tell you what. Direct the hate mail to us because I asked.
But we wrote a song. Actually, it was for a TV show. It wasn't even meant to go on the album. It's a song called "Daddy's Little Girl," and it's basically about a stripper. And I didn't even want to write the song, but the TV show was like, "Hey, we need a really good song for this," because they had Scores as their biggest sponsor, and they were shooting video down there and everything. And they're like, "Well, we need a song, just for that." So we wrote the song for the TV show, not really ready to put it on the album, and then we ended up putting it on the album anyway. And it turned out to be a lot of fans' favorites. And now we don't even play it live. And I know every show they're like, you didn't play Daddy's Little Girl. I hate you. I'm so sorry.
Oh man, Heather, way to set Speed up for Monday Madness next week.
And Rich has a question. What were some of your biggest influences, not necessarily musically?
I think he's frozen.
Did we lose Speed for a second?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
If we did, we're going to get hate mail for that one.
Good job, Angel.
Yeah, it's my fault.
Hang tight with us, everybody. We'll get him back in just a second.
Sorry. That's how you know it's live.
Yes, exactly.
It's Rich's fault. Let's just blame Rich.
No, we can't blame Rich. He's going to get hate mail for that. Let's just blame Psycho.
Okay. He left? Yep. And
we'll get Speed. We lost Speed for a second, guys. Hang tight.
It's my fault.
Right,
sorry.
Everybody, don't sweat it. But while we've got some downtime with that, let us know, tell us what you like about Silvertung. Tell us what you like about their music. Tell us how they make you feel. Let us know what your favorite songs are. So that way, when we get him back on, we'll have more things, of course. We always are going to, defer to you guys to be able to ask these artists anything that you guys want and all that. So we're definitely going to be able to get you all taken care of there while we're getting everything squared up. But other than that, Psycho Steve, what have you got going on with you right now?
Well, I just got medical clearance. I am having surgery on August 18th. I have these masks on my arms that are applying pressure to my nerves on my arms. So I am going for surgery. Yay! So, and I lost power at my store yesterday, which was also fun. Had the biggest sale of my store's history. Usually takes maybe an hour and a half. It took me about 3.5 hours to activate about 7 phones for a family of 10. It was pretty cool. Had to write everything out manually. Back in the day, you guys are too young to know this, but they used to write it on paper instead of on a computer, stuff like that. So yeah, put the FU in fun. Let me just tell you.
Absolutely.
So, hey Jay, Mark has a question for you.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Silvertung song?
Oh, yeah.
Now, that's a good question.
We can definitely do that because I've got some personal history back with Silvertung. Absolutely. I love Coming Alive personally. That's always been a really big one for me. I have a thing about I've got a thing for songs that not only allow for really good crowd participation, but also songs that are just really fucking snotty. And I love the aggression behind that song. I just think it's good. Um, it's easily one of my favorite drinking songs because the fact of the matter is, it talks about Jaeger, it talks about Scotch, it talks about whiskey, it talks about all that kind of great stuff, and it's also just a good song that just kind of really sums up getting to cut loose for the weekend when it's talking about how you've been at work doing this, handling your responsibilities, and now you get to cut loose. So definitely super duper stoked about that for sure.
Cool. Now,
Definitely one that I've always done.
cool. Now, I have a question
Yeah.
towards you, Jay. What's the music scene like in Baltimore? Because we know when we think about Baltimore, we always think about Kicks, but
Mhm.
there's always so many other bands. What has the music scene been like there? Because there seem to be more and more bands kind of coming out of that area.
The thing about Baltimore that's interesting is it's got actually a very underrated rock and metal scene, but a very, very like passionate and devoted one. So you've got heavier just metal driven bands that are into like the Metallicas, the Panteras, the Iron Maiden type stuff. Where you've got bands like Offensive, you've got bands like Omni Slash that are really, really like you know into that just heavier sound. You've also got a lot of like rock and metal bands that really spawn off of like that misfit sound and that misfit style. You've got bands like the Sonic Creeps, which are like a more apocalyptic metal band that I really love. That definitely kind of have that Mad Max type mixed with Halloween look to them. You've also got bands out of like Frederick, like Pain, that are a little bit more into like the movies type design, songs about like the Lost Boys and things like that. So you definitely get your fair share of that type of stuff, and then you also get bands like Silvertung that are that much more driven, direct, just heavier, just driving type sound. The thing that's also great about Silvertung that I've always loved is like so much positivity to their music. And as soon as we get, speed back on, we'll be able to get more into that for sure. But Baltimore and Maryland in general definitely has a very underrated hard rock and metal scene. And Angel, you're 100% correct because Kicks is king. You know, we definitely know that. Speed will also tell you this. For a very long time, Silvertongue was the yearly opening band for Kicks when they would play their double Kicksmith shows. Silvertongue always played the Friday night show.
Yeah, at the Ram's Head Tavern.
Yeah, Ramshead is the Baltimore, but they would typically play the Firehouse show that was usually out on like Friday nights.
Right.
I love that venue. Ramheads Live,
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
love it.
there was quite a few good venues that came out of Baltimore. There was Ram's Head. There's Hammerjacks.
Yep.
Where I saw Ace Frehley there. I saw Paul Stanley there. I saw Kicks there. Then I saw Kicks at, of course, Jack's in Springfield. There was another little venue in Baltimore. I saw Dope there. I'm trying to think of the name of the venue. Crap. What was the name of that venue? I was on tour with Dope and the Dropouts. I'm trying to figure it out. And that's when Trip Eisen was in the band too. It was kind of weird. Let me see.
Is that when he was playing with Tease and Roughhouse
Think so.
out of Philly?
Yeah. What is the name of that?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, because Trip started with that band early, and then I know he's been playing with them a lot lately now, while he um, while he's also got his other band,
Right.
Face of something. I'm not 100% sure off the top of
And
my
what
head.
other band did I see out of Maryland that was pretty well known? Child's Play,
Yeah, yeah,
Wow,
with
that's
Brian,
right?
with Brian Jack.
Right. Showing my age now, guys. See,
What's up?
I'm showing my age now that I can remember Child's Play.
I remember reading on them on Metal Edge magazine.
And it was just
What,
Paul
that
Gargano's
Metal Edge
birthday
for
yesterday.
Child's Play?
Yep.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I just texted Paul Gargano because it was his birthday yesterday. Speaking of Metal Edge.
Right on. No, absolutely. What do you
Yep,
guys?
I remember his interviews.
He was
Oh,
good. Him and I hung out with him and Jerry Miller at a Kiss show. It was pretty cool. She was very Jewish. She'd be like, Steven. I'm like, Steve. Club Mate. That was the name of the bar.
oh, okay.
You probably weren't down there yet.
Nah, not so much.
Gotcha.
What's your guys'?
So that's where
Oh, go
yeah.
go ahead, Steve.
I was gonna say it was Dope, the Dropouts, and I can't remember who else it was.
Oh, okay.
It was a good show.
Oh yeah, yeah. So Trip was probably playing with Dope still at that time before he left to go full time with Static X.
Right.
Gotcha. So what's your guys' take since it's been we haven't really discussed this on the show, but you know the beginning of this month we got the official postponement till next year of M3. What do you guys think? Do you think it was just the way?
Yeah,
Well,
I think it's the best way to do it. Safer than sorry, you know.
right.
Because who's gonna listen? Social distance. We could do it like when we're at a supermarket or something like that. But when we're at a club, so many people get drunk and high and everything. People aren't gonna listen. And it's also not just the safety for us, but also for the artists too.
Yeah.
So hopefully this shit will clear up before then. So.
No, definitely. So I definitely understand how that goes for sure. It was kind of one of those things where, like, I still stand by everything I was saying leading up to it, where I was like, if there was a venue that was set up for success, it was definitely Merriweather with their two stages on completely opposite ends of the spectrum. The only thing about it was just kind of like M3 tickets sell so fast as soon as they're on that
Right.
it's those rows right up at the front main stage that we're going to be just sold first and foremost aggressively. And what do you do for those people that are shoulder to shoulder? Like other venues I know have been considering the whole like, every other chair, skipping every other chair kind of thing. Do you kick every other person that out of their chair that they've already purchased and then try to make it up to them? Be like, hey, look, we're going to give you like VIP for the next two M3s or something because we did this to you. There's definitely a lot of interesting about how it's going to go or how it would have gone if they had held it.
Right. Well, I respect Eric's wishes, and thoughts.
Absolutely.
Because, it takes a lot of money, time, and a lot of thought to put this kind of thing together.
No, definitely for sure. And, it was also one of those things too, where you keep in mind that like, for a festival like M3 that's very dominant and loyal with a particular genre, even
Right.
with guys, even with, people being spread out, throughout the country and stuff like that, throughout the states, it's probably still pretty safe to say that a solid 3/4, at least a solid 75%, we're still going to be coming from like that LA type California area with that state now being back in like, as like a hot zone or red zone for COVID.
Big time.
But stay with us, guys. We're still trying to get connected with Speed and everything. We appreciate you guys riding it out with us and getting everything taken care of. For what it's worth, if somehow we lose him for whatever technical issue was, we will make sure that we get a episode with him in the very near future to make this back up with you guys and stuff. But stick with us for a little while longer, guys, while we're getting everything fixed up. You know how much we love you. But again, if for whatever reason we lose him, we will definitely get him right back.
Okay, here's a good question from Mark.
Yeah.
And yes, we're still reading the fan questions.
Of
With everything going on, do you ever see meet and greets coming back? Now, that's an awesome question.
That's a good question. That's a great question, actually.
Mhm.
Do I?
The answer to this? Yeah, I definitely agree.
I think we all answer. Yes, I do think they are coming back. For one of two reasons. One, the thing about meet and greets, they can be monitored. You can set them up with a line, with some space, and you can set people up, for success. You really can. The second part is I don't think that bands are really going to be willing to just give those up without a fight, depending on the level of your band, because they really do allow for a supplemental income that can be very vital to those bands.
Sure.
It's very expensive though with certain bands though, but I don't think all the bands are going to do it, but they're going to just shuffle them in all like groups, like cattle, and just do it really, really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And there won't be any contact. You'd be like, stand right next to them, take the picture. Okay, thanks, bye, and wave to them. Or the band members will wear like rubber gloves where they fist pump you high when you're going through the line, just saying hi to the band, and just like turn around. Okay, ready for your picture? Yeah. And take the picture, and that's it.
Right, but like I said, it's gonna come back. I mean, it's a big moment maker for bands, so that's not gonna go away. But like I said, we're talking about when touring resumes next year, which a lot of bands have already booked the dates for 2021. But wow, what a busy touring season 2021 is going to be.
It definitely is, for sure, 100%. And my other thing too is,
make up for a lot of lost time.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm ready to freaking rock.
Yeah.
I'm ready to book tickets, hotels, everything. Get drunk, catch a good damn rock show, and have a cold beer.
Oh, dude, I was on the phone. I was also on the phone today with my buddy Mark, who makes all my clothes, dude, putting in my order for my Metal Summit jacket. So you're going to be seeing that shit all over the scene when I get that thing in the mail.
Of course, yeah, we're going to be wearing Metal Summit gear. I'll definitely be wearing the mask, the T-shirt, so people recognize us.
Definitely.
For sure. Yep.
And it's also one of those things too, when it comes to like the meet and greets, where I also do believe, and look, the hierarchy of bands, I mean, they're already on a certain level, so certain things may not necessarily change. But I do think that meet and greets, similar to ticket prices, are definitely going to take a dip. Meet and greet prices, similar to ticket prices for the shows themselves, are going to have to take a dip, at least for the temporary future. My thing is, and for the fans and stuff that are watching, as well as all of this being so well documented, I'm not talking about like frankly the bullshit lunacy that like Live Nation and Ticketmaster was like spewing, where they're like, these bands are going to have to take a pay cut, and if they cancel, we are going to make them pay back double their guarantee back to us. That was the stupidest thing that I've ever heard in my life. But
yes, it was.
My thing is, I do believe that just for the time being, because like the bands, the fans are going to need to understand that everybody kind of took a hit. So if a band's, if it's $3,000 and the tickets price, and the tickets are whatever, $30 at the door. They're probably going to have to be 25 or 20 a piece. It's probably going to have to be, something like that. But there are going to be certain little cuts that are going to have to be made to kind of bridge the gap. But the one thing that I'm really looking forward to, because I really want to see how it gets played out for sure, is this is literally going to be the fans' best and most perfect opportunity for them to really step up and prove and show how much they love live music. Because I've, for years, been very open, very loud, and very just ruckus and frankly bitchy about the amount of people, as somebody speaking for myself that's very active on the scene and at shows regardless of the day of the week. I hear all the time people bitching and moaning about how no good shows ever come to town. And then when good shows come to town, all of a sudden, I got work the next day. I'm tired. I don't really feel like driving. Dude, I don't want to hear it, because if that's the way that you're going to look at it, then you don't have the right to speak. So I really think that coming out of COVID and music starting back up is really going to give the fans the opportunity to really, show what they're made of, and really, put their money where their mouth is, and, grow a pair and start smacking people in the face with it.
Darn it, Heather, I was going to ask that question. But what the heck? I'll ask it anyway.
Hell yeah.
What are your thoughts on nickel sack and 5-flavor fruit punch?
Who the fuck asked that question? I want to know.
Heather did.
Oh, that's
She said
amazing.
she's just playing, but too late.
Nah, dude. Like,
It's a different name for Nickelback.
so
no, I'm complaining. I think it's quite original. Great job, Heather. Thank you.
yeah.
Yes.
So
We
I
should
don't-
start a band and call it Nickel Sack. What do you think, Steve?
Amazing.
Okay, so I saw them in concert. They were entertaining because they had really good stage presence. Like, their stage setup was really cool. They had pyro, so of course I liked it. 5-Finger Death Punch. I like the band members, but I don't care for the band, if that makes sense. Like, I like Jason Hook. I think they're all very, very talented, but the music just doesn't do much for me.
Heather hates them both. So.
Okay.
Now I have a
Like,
question
if we're an asshole, we're all entitled to our opinion.
Now I have a question for the fans. You can post your answer. If you could, for the first show in 2021, if you could see a band anywhere in the world, who would you see? For me, it would be Motley Crue in Las Vegas. That would be nothing better. Motley Crue in Vegas. Psycho
During
Steve,
AVN for you, right?
exactly. How did you know?
Psycho Steve. I would have to say
Psychic
Kiss
Steve.
Last Show.
What about you,
The
Psycho
Ki-
Steve?
the- I would say Kiss's last show, which was supposed to happen in 2021, July 16th, 2021, in New York.
July 17th, to be exact.
Yes.
That would be the
So-
first show you ever want to see in 2021? Well, don't
All
blame
right, I'll take that back. I'll say I would have to say, that's hard, man. So what did I miss this summer? I missed Journey. I missed Crew. I missed so many shows. There's so many that That's a very difficult question. The Real LA Guns I missed a couple times. Disturbed I missed. Let's see. Is this person still alive or dead? Does it matter?
I have no idea who you're thinking.
Oh, yeah, I would love to see Kenny Rogers. Yeah, he was pretty awesome.
I would have liked to have seen Eddie Money before he passed. I was just never able to
He was freaking awesome.
get a chance to see him.
Okay, Nancy is supposed to see Pop Evil on New Year's Day in Atlantic City. That counts as 2021.
Yeah.
You know who I would have loved to see?
That's actually a pretty good question for the fans too. Is who did you guys lose in 2020 that had you so hyped? So let us know like who you guys lost this year that had your engines just revved up. Like for example, for me with just loving like the horror stuff as much as I do, there was this really cool lineup where it was Wednesday 13, who a lot of people know from like the Murder Dolls and Frankenstein Drag Queens and stuff like that. But it was a headlining tour with him with a band called the Haxons, which is Ash Costello from New Year's Day on vocals with Piggy D on guitar, who's the bass player for Rob Zombie. And then the tour support was going to be a band called Dead Girls Academy, which is Michael Vampire, formerly of Vampires Everywhere's newest project that he's been doing now for a few years, because I believe they have their second album coming out soon. But I was really looking forward to actually seeing that tour, because I mean, I love everything that Wednesday 13 does, but you know, having Wednesday 13 with the Haxons, because I've met Piggy and he's a great dude. I've met Ash and she's great. That I was really looking forward to that, and I haven't seen this Michael's new band yet, so I was definitely looking forward to that. You know, everybody and their mother always knows how M3 means to me, so I'm always you know, definitely was looking forward to doing that. But there was definitely some good stuff. Doyle from the Misfits was going to be on tour. You know, like Angel was just saying before, when it comes to bands possibly being living or dead. I would actually really like to see these guys again. I would really like to see Type O Negative again. Like,
yes,
I would really like that for sure.
You know,
I saw them with Motley Crue.
Me too. Type O Negative. That's what I was gonna say.
That was a pretty cool
stuff. They've come around so many times to my area, and I've always anticipated to see them, but something always came up, and I never got to see them. And then one year, Peter Steele passed away, and then that was it.
Yeah. I will say, for if any of you guys aren't familiar with Kenny, the guitar player, and Johnny, the drummer, have a great new band together called Silvertung, Tomb, for the fans that are watching this episode. Silvertung. I caught them in Baltimore right after I left Monster Mania convention in Hunt Valley, just outside of Baltimore. I got done at the show. This is actually a funny story. Got done at the show, went to a tattoo parlor, got Vinny Appice's autograph tattooed on me from when I met him at Monster Mania Con because his manager told me to do it. And then I went to Baltimore Soundstage and watched Silvertung and hung out for a little while after the show with Kenny and Johnny from Type O Negative. But anyway, that band, it's very Type O. It really has that sound to it. And
I saw them with Life of Agony.
Yeah. Very much that same type of sound, that same type of like gloom, and a fun little mission to send people on that are into Type O Negative, but anybody who is a fan of Peter Steele that has not seen this band yet or lately, is people that know Type O, know Peter Steele, knew that he had another band called Carnivore. Well, Carnivore still tours now as Carnivore AD. Their bass player and their bass player / singer now, is like the spitting image of Peter Steele. It's like on a level of like it shouldn't even be like fair. The guy doesn't quite have that kind of lantern jaw look, doesn't quite have that like, you know, gloomy, you know, Sex in the Graveyard voice that Peter had, but his look from the hair to the bass to the playing to just that aesthetic is actually really freaky. When I saw him for the first time, I was like, I don't even buy for a second that this dude knew how to play bass. I think they went out and found a guy that looked like Peter Steele and then taught him bass. But hey, for the fans that are watching, since it's that top of the hour, we've been trying to kind of get everything fixed up and fixed up with speed. It doesn't look like it's quite working out in our favor to this one, but we're going to tell you guys right now, we will have speed back. We appreciate your support. We love you guys to death. We're going to get speed locked up in a few weeks because we do have some openings. We'll be in contact with him. Maybe we even set something up to where we have speed like part of his home where we don't have to worry about like cell phones and cars and stuff like that. This was kind of matched up with one of his practices. So we might have set ourselves up in a bad way. But fans, thank you so much. I'm going to take this opportunity real quick to send some love and affection out to our sponsors who we love so much that always support us. Levy Metal Enterprises, custom guitars, custom stage props, Twisted Vines, right there, who we love to death. You know, Horror Decor out of Rhode Island. Aces and Eights Skateboards, thank you so much as well. And of course, Bradley Entertainment. For people who aren't familiar with Bradley Entertainment, but also are familiar with Silvertung, Silvertung will be playing the Ballroom Blitz Festival that we're getting rescheduled for right around March of 2021. We're still getting that all fixed up. And also a shout out as well to DeVille Ink Tattoos, who is one of the sponsors of Silvertung as well. So we want to send some love out to Tony DeVille and for everything that he does. We love them so very much. But thank you guys all so much for rocking out with us this evening. Sorry so much for the technical difficulties, but it was a great interview going forward. It's going to be a great continuation. To make it up to you guys, we usually do our guest announcements on Fridays. I'll give you guys the guest announcement tomorrow. So I'll hook you guys up with what you have to look forward to for next week, for being such troopers and being just so awesome. So thank you guys all so much. For Angel, for Jason, for Psycho Steve, I'm Jay. For Speed, we love him to death. We will have you. Thank you guys all so much. Rock out. We will see you guys next week on the Metal Summit. Stay tuned tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are listening
I know
to
what
the Metal
Angel's
Summit,
concert was going to be, and I
your
know it.
source for all things rock and roll.